Welcome to Shadow Realm Mysteries, where dark secrets, chilling tales, and unexplained phenomena are unveiled. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare yourself, because the truth always lurks in the shadows. Tonight, we step into a haunting story, The Curse of Ravenwood Asylum, a forgotten mystery, whispers from the darkness, and a place where no one leaves the same. Are you ready? In the fall of 1998, Ethan Carter, an aspiring documentary filmmaker, set out to investigate the abandoned Ravenwood Asylum, a place notorious for its dark history. For over 60 years, the asylum housed thousands of patients, but after a mysterious fire in 1965, the institution was shut down. But here's the terrifying part. No bodies were ever recovered. The staff, the doctors, and the patients vanished without a trace. Locals spoke of shadowy figures roaming the halls and disembodied voices crying in the night. Ethan, eager to prove the supernatural was real, gathered his equipment and set out for one final investigation. As Ethan entered the asylum, his flashlight flickered. The air was heavy with the scent of mildew and decay. The entrance hall was eerily silent, except for the faint sound of dripping water. Then he saw it. A rusty metal door, chained shut, but it was rattling as if something was trying to open it from the inside. Ethan hesitated. His breath quickened. Slowly he lifted his camera, and as the lens focused, the door slammed open on its own. A cold gust of air rushed past him, carrying with it the faintest whisper, "You shouldn't be here." As Ethan made his way down the main hallway, he passed old patient rooms, each one marked with a number and a single word. Room 101. Violent room. 102. Unstable room. 103. Possessed. Possessed? He shuddered. He stepped closer to room 103, his fingers grazing the rusted doorknob. Then a deep guttural growl echoed from inside. Something scratched the door from within. Suddenly, a voice whispered right next to his ear, "Let us out!" Ethan staggered back as the door rattled violently. He turned and ran, his breath coming in frantic gasps. Ethan reached a grand, rotting staircase leading down into complete darkness. His camera flickered, struggling to capture anything beyond the first few steps. At the bottom, a door stood slightly ajar, revealing a dimly lit corridor lined with rusted medical gurneys. A single wheelchair rested in the centre. As he stepped closer, the wheelchair moved on its own, rolling backward as if someone had just left it. Then, a handprint appeared on the dusty wall, followed by another. And another. They crawled up the walls and ceiling as if invisible hands were reaching toward him from the shadows. His breath caught in his throat. Then a single word echoed in the darkness. "Run!" Ethan turned to flee, but the basement door slammed shut behind him. His camera shook as he desperately tried to pry it open. Then, from the shadows, a figure emerged. A gaunt woman in a hospital gown, her head twitching unnaturally, her eyes completely black. She raised a finger to her lips, signaling him to be silent. And then she screamed. A sound so inhuman, so soul-piercing, that Ethan collapsed to the ground, clutching his ears. The screen flickered. Static overtook the feed. The last thing the camera captured was the woman crawling toward Ethan at an impossible speed, her mouth opening wider than humanly possible. Then, blackness. Ethan's camera was found 2 years later by urban explorers. His body was never recovered. His final video, now known as the Ravenwood tape, remains one of the most disturbing paranormal recordings ever discovered. In the last few frames, before the footage cuts out completely, a single sentence can be heard in a chilling, distorted whisper. "We're still here." To this day, no one who has entered Ravenwood Asylum has ever made it out unscathed. Those who spend too long inside report seeing shadowy figures watching them, hearing voices whispering their names, and feeling a cold hand press against their back when no one is there. And if you listen closely, sometimes you can still hear Ethan's voice crying out from the depths of the abandoned halls.